It's Tuesday night, it's 9 o'clock, and for the first time in weeks, you are able to once again join us on Gantry TV for our first ever coverage of the RTA GR86 Cup 2026. Note how I say our first broadcast. This is the second round of the championship, as we were in Summit Point last week, but unfortunately, technical gremlins means that we weren't able to make the first time around. But we're here in Brands Hatch, Indy, and bollocks to ChatGPT intros. We're doing it old school tonight because we're going to do it off the cuff as we look forward to this year's championship. So, back in the GR86, we are back at probably the most phallic track of all on the calendar. That is, of course, Brands Hatch Indy. And I am once again joined by my partner in crime, Evan Dalton, who, Evan, I'm surprised we managed to catch you on a free day because you are a man in high demand in karting tracks up and down the country this summer.
I am, absolutely. It's good to be back here. Unfortunately, though, the karting does end in like 3 races, so I'll be back to having no work again. So, folks, please feel free to email me. But anyways, it's good to be back for the on Gantry TV for the GR86 Cup. We're at one of the staples of RTA, Brands Hatch, but we're at the Indy layout tonight, so the shorter variation of the famous West Kingsdown circuit. And if you didn't enjoy our Indy Next Championship, you will very much be a fan of GR86. The racing is a lot closer, a lot tougher, and it's a lot harder to win.
Yeah, I think most people, apart from those up the higher end of the grid, were ready to say goodbye to the Indy Next cars by the time we got to the end of that championship. But we're back to what we love best, bit of tin top action and slower power usually means much better racing. Right, so last week we were in Summit Point over in the United States. We started in Evan Walsh Corner, but unfortunately we weren't able to broadcast that. So from there we go to Indy Brands Hatch. This is a track that I think everyone knows exceptionally well, as Evan alluded to earlier. It's unusual to have a season without it at some point, and usually we do race this Indy variant. It's only 1.938 kilometers, 1.2 miles, or just a touch over in old money. Only 6 turns, so you got to make sure you nail every single one with the race lap record of Luis Garcia Jr. From Brazil in a Reynard 95D. That's a 38 second lap. Something a bit longer we're expecting in the GR86 is around about the 55 second mark if you can get it. And the lap times are coming in already, and already we're getting towards that bottom part of the 50-second mark. So brand new graphics, as you can see. Well, not brand new graphics, but brand new colors for the GR86 to mimic the Toyota colors. But I think red and green is more the colors that we'll see in action, Evan, after this weekend's incredible final victory for Mayo, beating Kerry in the All-Ireland football final. I know 1 or 2 drivers on the grid will be very unhappy with it, but plenty of drivers here, and I'm sure most of other people around Ireland who follow the Gaelic games are delighted for the green and gold to finally get their name back on the Sam Maguire.
Oh, the green and red of Mayo. Has anybody seen David Clifford of the Kerry team? No idea. That's the last time I sing that song anyways. But yeah, Mayo with a champion comeback this season after a shaky start, losing the Connacht Championship to win the All-Ireland Series. So to treat you all, we have 5 drivers in Mayo liveries out on circuit. Which is splendid for us all, really. Gilberto Struck, the Brazilian, currently 10th in practice, is going to be well confused at why the alternative to ketchup is on the side of all the cars, but that's here nor there. There's Kevin Joyce, one of the Mayo men out on circuit. Peter McCann is pretending to be a Mayo man for the sake of his children, so he has the Mayo livery on as well. But yeah, it's that is weird. They both spun at the same time.
Well, I mean, it almost looks like Peter was just showboating, really, at that point. But yeah, we have a few, as I say, Kerry natives. Tony Griffin, of course, is our main one. He's in 6th at the moment, so he'll be trying to
Kerry
right the wrongs.
Motorsport News very quiet on Sunday, actually, now that I think about it.
Very quiet. Well, I suppose you didn't provide them much content for them to take. But yeah, it's yeah, it's great to see the green and red, and in even better news for those of us interested in all Mayo matters, Hardy Bucks has been commissioned for another season. So it's been a great weekend for the county of Mayo. I think it's fair to say that topped off. So we'll try and keep an eye. I mean, the only thing I would say in Evan Walsh's credit is that the number boxes are relatively clear. So we should, unlike many GAA jerseys, we should be able to see the numbers relatively clearly on them and distinguish who's who. But yeah, we can get an idea of who's who roughly based on what we have. And speaking of the Mayo colours, that flies very much so at the top of our leaderboard, where Dylan McClements leads on 88 points, followed by Jordan Kelly, then Sean McClements, and then Sean McGoldrick. Johnny Reid, a new name for me, followed by Kevin Joyce. Travis Mawini, great to see him back, one of our scholarship winners and our last driver to participate in this year's Formula B Championship. Followed by, look at that, in 8th position, it's only the man himself. How did you manage to get up there?
Should be higher. Should be higher. Should have had the top 5 in 8-3. Won't get into it. Got annoyed. Sorry, Ryan.
Eric Killeen, Vicky is in 9th place, and then followed by Harvey Dara. So you participated in last week's events at Summit Point.
I did.
And to talk us through it roughly, and tell us a little bit what it's like to be on the grid and to be driving these cars, and why you decided to jack it in to do commentary tonight. We could have had you commentating in the car, and you could have kept your championship hopes alive.
Oh, I would have absolutely loved to drive. These things are the funnest things ever to battle. I've been racing them in the Jackson League, which we can mention because it's on a different night, with Eric Killeen and Cathal Corkin and all them for the last 6 weeks, and it is just the funnest racing ever. It's so close. It's even if you do make contact, it's not always your race ruined. Now, these cars do get damaged very easily, so that's one thing to keep an eye tonight. But yeah, it's just brilliant fun. I'd recommend anyone to give them a go, and entry is still open for another couple of weeks here on RTA, so you're still more than welcome to join us. But yeah, I qualified 20th, got 2 top 10 finishes, so yeah, can't really complain.
Yeah, well, a great outing for you. That's why I'm wondering why you didn't decide to stick with it. We may
actually pay my entry, so
yeah. Yeah, pay or be paid, and you chose the latter. Here is Gilberto Struck in a very a real homage to Ayrton Senna. I think it's fair to say that Nacional.
Sorry to jump in, Kevin. There's just been a brilliant bit of knowledge put in by Camto saying that I scored more points than Peter McCann did in the whole Indy next season.
That's excellent. Love that. And as Sam says, congratulations to Peter setting new lows every round. So yeah, thanks all of you in the comments. Sam says Mayo for Sam. We're for Sam too. So that's very true. Marie Quirk says credit where it's due. Well done, Mayo. And Eddie Shredder says we've got Bicky back on the grid, ready to watch our boy get punted. And then Sam says, purely because my name is Sam, I'm going to do next round with a mayonnaise livery. Yep, the Hellman's livery. I mean, it's not hard to find a Hellman's livery in most of these cars. There's always somebody does one up on Trading Paints. So you should be able to get that. Other mayonnaise brands are, of course, available. But yeah, it's very much the usual suspects at the top of the leaderboard. Dylan McClements and Sean McClements. Dylan fairly ran away fairly comfortably with the well, Harvey Dara ran away with the championship last year, but or last time round. Have you never seen this? Like, the lads are skinning up. Have you never seen this livery before?
No.
Okay. Evan and Ronan are skitting. Yeah, we should get a 360 view on it. Have a look at the rear right corner. I ran this livery for a small while when I was running this car. Have a look at the rear right corner of this car. I think the best part of it. Birds aren't real. They're government drones. That their poop is a camera tracking apparatus, and as you can see, their CPU is located just underneath their left wing.
Rumor has it it's better
So
than the gantry one.
I was gonna say, if they had the gantry one, I don't think it would just be glitching through the air. It would just be, it'd be like a car with high ping, just be not actually flying. Right, a lot of drivers already into the grid, or into the pitch, should I say, trying to get extra fuel. So it seems to be a bit of a splash and dash job here,
No
not
tires.
the sort of. Oh, right, okay.
Tires wear after about 2 laps maybe, and the wear gets pretty bad, so they'll be in for a fresh set of rubber.
Okay, interesting. Um, And again, you can tell me a bit more about this, Evan. 20-minute race, tires, big problem?
To quote Thierry Henry, big problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, a big problem. You got to manage them, and especially the fact that it's such high intense racing for the most part. They will be pretty ruined by the end of the race, but they'll be ruined for everyone. So
Here's Travis in the old Randy livery. Gritty racing. That's another thing that I think that's okay to show on stream, the message on the rear bumper, but there's a lot of meme liveries. I suppose the GR86 is a free car, and free cars inevitably, like the Mazdas, get their fair share of meme liveries, and it's important that Travis has not forgotten to bring a towel, so he has Towley on the roof. Um, let's have a look in a second when we can at the driver's perspective. We can guide you around this Brands Hatch Indy track. If you haven't seen it before, you don't think you've ever watched a Gantry TV stream, because I would say this is the most visited venue for Gantry TV every season. But we can have a look there now as we come back over through the Clark Curve. This is on board with Travis Mooney. So coming through the Clark Curve, up and over the hill as you begin a lap here of this Brands Hatch track. As we said, just about 1.2 miles, a very short one, but this is a really difficult corner, this Paddock Hill bend. You want to go right in the outside, and then the camber goes away from you. It's downhill and it's off camber. You have to cut that corner on the inside, go wide as you can. You do have a bit of space there without getting an off track, but if you dip a wheel in the gravel, you do get an off track. There is somebody very much getting an off track through Druids, which is a bit of a hairpin that you can take one of two ways as you come down towards Graham Hill Bend. And Travis has once again completed our record of having nobody finish a lap. Here's Harvey Dara. Let's hope he'll have more luck. He's gone through the Graham Hill Bend and not taking too much of that curb on the outside. That is a very easy 1x there on the outside. He's come around through Surtees, and he's made way for the Mayo car to drive through. And he is coming back around Clark Curve now. So that was a bit of a messy one. We didn't get a proper lap from anybody there, but it gives you a sense, Evan, and we've covered this track so often, that these guys have driven it so often, that I really don't think it's going to take these guys long to get up to speed here.
yeah, absolutely, and it's so close to the front. You can see top four all doing a 50.2. Travis Mooney, one of our returning drivers for this season, another one of our returning drivers, and to quote the Hardy books that we mentioned earlier, do you have any biscuits? Yeah, get them. And we have. Bicky's back, Eric Killeen, he's down to 15th place behind Johnny Reid, the videographer from the north, who put in a pretty solid effort last week, had great pace, finished 4th in the 3rd heat, so expect Johnny and Bicky to be up towards the top fairly soon.
Yep, absolutely. Great knowledge there. Hopefully we'll have some more Hardy Bucks quotes sprinkled in throughout over the course of the rest of the day. Here's Johnny Reid in that 13 car. A name that I'm sure is not new to the grid, but new to me is that the car in 6th position at the moment, the number 10, Ryan Johnson. You alluded to that earlier, Evan. Do you want to first of all explain to us exactly what happened, and maybe make a formal apology to the number 10 car?
Oh no, I'm not making any apology. No, absolutely not. But how can I put this? With Ryan rubbing his racing, and so is moving under the braking, and so is pushing you off the track. But no, Ryan has been signed up to RTA for a while, was one of our main viewers during the scholarship series, but I don't think ever got out on track. I think this is his first season actually getting out on track. It just turned 16 and wanted to try become the youngest driver ever to test a V in Ireland, but he didn't. He's just missing it. But I'm pretty sure he's out in a James Friel Formula V either tomorrow or Thursday. One of the days this week, I would say. But yeah, Ryan, great pace. If he drives smart, will be a front runner.
Well, I mean, you're certainly not on the fence there, Evan. You got to hand you that much, in fairness to you. So no, but it's important that you were. There's no bad blood after that instant anyway, and I think we can all be very satisfied that that's not the case. Given your comments there.
We share
Dylan
a name.
McClements. That's nice. Dylan McClements on pole. We haven't shown you this in a while. I don't think we showed it at any point during the Indy Next series, but nothing has changed. If you've joined us any point before, 3 races, different various legs, different ways of setting the grid, and the equal amount of points for all of them, which makes us wonder, should you really get the same amount of points for doing half the amount of work in race 1 that you have to do in race 3? But that is a question for the RTA admins. Right, Queeveen Brennan has joined us in the chat. Thanks very much, Queeveen. Might be worth your while to get out on track and set a lap because you're 21st at the moment with a 51.3. So maybe
Whoa.
maybe you should head out and get a lap get a few laps maybe between now and the end of qualifying. Here is Carl Corkin, the number 18 car, one of the very many men sporting the Mayo livery, and I think Carl was making a few comments in the drivers' chat this week. I saw him pop up over some witty banter, you can call it, in the drivers' chat this week. A lot of people call it shy talk, but I am not one of them. I think it's very funny banter, and long may it continue. Carl in 10th position at the moment, 50.5. And it's Sean McClemens just got fastest. Sean with a 50.186 with, I think, a generous dollop of help from his brother with the toe in front. So the two McClemens brothers once again teaming up to lock out the front row of the grid. I was going to say before that, there isn't much really. I know it's a short track, but like first down to 19th are within 0.6 of a second. That's that's about as close as the qualifying as I see in RTA.
Yeah, it's exceptionally close. But I suppose that alludes to that leans into what we were alluding to earlier. They know this track so well. They know every break point. You know where the grip is, where the grip isn't. We've seen big crashes here in the past in RTA, so the races can get very interesting. There's Tony Griffin in the Bear Media livery. I believe that's Tony's new media outlet, so best of luck to Tony on his endeavour with Bear Media. Currently running in 5th position and was voted the most improved driver in the Indy Next Championship. A championship, of course, that we didn't get to cover the last round on, but it was, in fact, won by Harvey Dara, who took his first RTA championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And most importantly, not to be confused with the famous nudist website Bear Media. Tony Griffin. Tony Griffin's new voucher, but yes,
Tony's
very
mother
best
is
of luck
watching,
to him.
Kevin.
It's look, all in jest. But yeah, web design, logo design, vehicle wrapping, and social media management. So any of those and all
Looks
the above.
cool. Looks great.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah. It's very Sky Bet color scheme. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Sky Bet. Gamble responsibly. Yeah, I don't know. Just the color scheme reminds me like the
I was
old
thinking
Sky
more
Sports
Licky
News.
Molly.
You see, that's where your references and my references slightly differ.
Maybe that's what happens on the website.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Right, there's Ken Doyle going to the beach for the day. We've had outstanding weather in Ireland for the last couple of weeks. That may or may not be coincidentally the reason why we haven't been on as much as we probably should have. But and also probably almost definitely the reason most people got sick of the Indy Next series, which isn't actually a fault of the series itself. But when you do have a generational summer in a country where it rains, 80% of the time, then you can understand why people don't want to be sitting in their sheds driving sims. Right, Ronan Keane, 20th position. That is a nice livery. That's a mean looking livery. Rexy-esque. I don't know, is that from the same people who brought you Rexy, or is it just an homage? Because you can see the gold teeth in that as well.
I think it has an AO logo on it. I don't know if it was a real car, but you're certainly barking up the right tree, Kevin.
And the 2 gold teeth definitely makes me think that there's a bit more than just coincidence in it. As we get to the last 10 seconds here, that is a lovely livery from Queeveen Brennan, by the way. Superb. The old Castra livery, but in tricolours. Superb work from Queeveen. That
Is that
is
a
really good.
motorsport.ie sticker on it?
It could very well be. It could
Hmm.
be. Where's the ball motorsport though? That's where I want to know.
Maybe Ryan's not
Right.
my least favourite driver anymore.
Sean McClements getting pole here this evening. So Sean, followed by his brother Dylan, followed by Brandon, followed by Harvey Dara, Tony Griffin, Ken Doyle, Ryan Johnson. Evans making friends up and down the grid this evening. Travis Mooney, followed by Peter McCann, and then Kevin Joyce. And then just outside the top 10 and our only racer outside of the European Union, Gilberto Struck, or not the European Union, outside of the European continent, should I say. Gilberto Struck, Colin Corkin, then followed by Conor Melia, then Johnny Reid, Darrell O'Connor, Eric Killeen, Lee Cogan, Sean Smith, Simon Hutchings, Ronan Keane, Queeveen Brennan, Graham Walpole, and that's it basically of the grid. So 22 cars in the grid this evening. Plenty of action here, and nice, Evan, finally to see a full grid after what's been an interesting last couple of weeks.
Yes, certainly, and it's the two McClements on top once again. Dylan won both of the opening 2 heats last week, with Sean winning the feature. Confirmation of the AO livery from Irby Gerbies. He said it was AO's Halloween livery, so you were absolutely spot on, Kevin. This could be a very interesting race here at Brands Hatch. 10 minutes opening heat, 15 minutes heat number 2, and then 20 heat number 3. But we won't worry about the latter 2 for now. It's all about this opening heat, getting a good start and getting a steady run around the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. It is a daunting run through Paddock Hill Bend and up Pilgrim's Rise to start the opening lap. The two Team GDR cars got to be looking to work together. Dylan doing his traditional and newfound tactics of being the last to grid up, and he is now gridded up, and hopefully, oh my god, look at all the Mayo liveries in the middle of that. They really stand out like a sore thumb. It's an excellent livery by Evan Walsh, but just, we've had enough of that, I think.
Yeah, six in total, and this is going to be a very interesting race because they're so close together. Can't push too hard. Don't want to get involved in instance. Can't push too little, or you'll get gapped by the grid. So let's see what happens.
Yes, it's for the first time in Brands Hatch. The red lights are coming on, and we go racing here in Kent. And it's a good start from the pole of Sean McClements. Dylan McClements immediately into the slipstream. Brandon McGaughan is going to have to try and catch up very early on here, but he out-drags Tony Griffin into the first corner. There's almost a little bit of contact for the high-flying Ken Doyle and Travis Mawhinney. Mawhinney up 2 positions already as they enter in towards the right-hander for the first time. And the Mayo senior football team compiling in as well. There's McCann, Johnson, Joyce, all still running smoothly. It's a very clean opening lap so far, and a little bit of a nudge there for Harvey Dara, as we're all safely through the opening lap so far. A couple of positions lost for Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, I think Tony Griffin's tyres will be bare, or his rear tyres will be bare come the end of this race, given how he got off the line there. He was almost sideways coming off the line, but manages to hope to get a position nonetheless as these two lads start to flex their muscles a little bit and start to drag out the grid. There's a big swarm of Mayo cars all battling against each other, so there won't be a goldfish in a bag of water found in the county of Mayo, or a carrot in a bag of water, should I say, found in the county of Mayo if this continues. Ryan would have moved down the inside. Oh, there's one gone. Oh, there's one gone already. That's Carl Corkin, I think. Carl, unfortunately, ends up into the barrier. And very disappointing. Oh, that's also is that Eric Killeen, I think? No, it's Ken Doyle. Ken Doyle being caught up. So a few instances here in the mid part of the lap, a good clean start, but unfortunately we're already seeing some guys' races and potentially entire evenings get ruined given how close the grid is.
That's a very strange one. Happened in the middle of the Cooper Straight. Poor Ken Doyle, who had one of his best qualifyings ever in RTA, dumped down the back of the grid on the second lap of proceedings. Here's Conor Melia and Gilberto Struck. They were neck and neck for the whole Summit Point opener, where Conor just could not find a way past the Brazilian, and it seems to be that way as well. Gilberto, one of the highest I-rating drivers on the grid. He is well over the 6,000, so knows these cars very well indeed. The McClements brothers are gone up the front. It's Travis Mawhinney and Tony Griffin side by side. It's Rich Hill versus County Kerry here in towards the right-hander, and that's a good move from Travis Mawhinney, one of the stars of our scholarship, who's up to 4th position.
Yeah, good work from Travis. It's a great start for him and Conor Melia. Gilberto started outside the top 10, very much inside the top 10 and hoping to keep that happen, but he's outside the toe now of Ryan Johnson, which is going to open the door for Conor Melia. Once again, running that Martini livery. That seems to be a bit of a trademark for the 56 car, and behind him is Johnny Reid in uh, uh, um, I'll tell you in a second what Johnny Reid's card kind of reminds me of, and I don't know if you'll get the reference, but if anybody who um, will understand this reference will find this quite funny. Right, Lee Cogan, he is battling with quite a few different cars. He's in the middle of a Dara O'Connor and Eric Killeen sandwich. And how do they get the fig in the fig rolls? I'm not entirely sure, but unfortunately, Bickie's nowhere to be found near that. As there's Eric Killeen, the man himself, Bicky. He's going his own way, but he's not Fleetwood Mac. He's having to spin himself round, and onwards he goes. As Sean McClements is still in first place, followed by Dylan.
Yes, here's Harvey Dara fighting with Travis Moini up towards Druids and down towards the Graham Hill bend. Little bit of a nudge from Harvey Dara, who's not exactly loving the situation that he's in currently, parked up right behind the bumper of Travis Moini. And Dara and Griffin having lots of fights in the Indy Next series, but Harvey Dara and Travis Moini not having been side by side and battling for quite some time. Will there be a lunge up the inside here? No, Travis Moini goes nice and defensive. Travis, who has a lot of experience racing tin tops, even if he is our star in a Formula V, racing in the Kirkstone Fiesta Championship, took 2 wins there at the weekend. So Travis with a lot of experience in tin tops. But the 3 Antrim boys are off and away at the front, and it is Sean leading Dylan and Brandon McGaughan then in third.
Yeah, coming back to, I think it was Johnny Reid's
a bit too much of
livery. Yeah, Sean very much getting up the tailpipe there, I think, in fairness, keeping his brother very honest. Yeah, it's just ahead. There's a good battle here, though. Let's keep an eye on this. Lee Cogan leading this one. Dara O'Connor just behind him, and then Peter McCann, who spun out earlier on, trying to get his place back. And Lee is little bit overzealous on the outside of that corner, bites off a little bit more than he can chew, and that'll invite Dara O'Connor to come through. Lee, oh, Peter has gone there. Oh, Simon Hutchings has gone off, and I thought that Simon wasn't going to be able to collect it. No, Simon, yes, no, no. He bonks into the side of Sean Smith, and yeah, bit of a roller coaster one for that one for Simon Hutchings. Not the tidiest move of all time.
No, I always find it quite funny, Simon Hutchings' team name, and given what unfortunately tends to happen from time to time, as Brandon McGaughan running a little bit wide through Paddock Hill, but still with the front 2 for the most part. Now it's Griffin and Dara side by side once again. Harvey Dara has the much better line. Is he going to dump him off the circuit? Absolutely he is. These are 2 raw racers, and Tony Griffin does have that preferable inside line in towards the next right-hander. It's going to be about a test of bravery, and Harvey Dara shows him the door. I think that was fair enough. Tony Griffin didn't really have his front axle alongside, and Harvey Dara taking no prisoners. Nice and kind and gentle off the circuit, but aggressive, and will show you the grass on the circuit, is the one-time RTA champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think very little consideration given there, rightly so, to the man behind him, who stays where he is in 6th position. As this battle continues up the front, Brandon's doing a good job here sticking with these 2 lads. I mean, there's a massive gap between himself now and Travis Moini, so these 3 guys can probably work together between now and the end of the race if they want to. Whether that'll happen or not, I think Dylan's very content to sit behind Sean here for the moment and lead the 2 of them battle it out, and then they can decide what they want to do for the final race, whether they want to swap as Harvey goes for a move down the inside, and that battle was continuing. Obviously Tony getting the better of Harvey, but Harry coming back again, and this is very much old school, old money versus new money battle. We've an young upstart Irish company versus probably one of the most famous fast food outlets of all time, and as always it is the big guy who wins, whether it's on track or in the high court. That is seems to be the way it goes. So Harvey managing to get the job done there. Right, here is Johnny Reid. Now I can talk about his livery. If anybody remembers the assassin shoes that Homer once bought in Simpsons, that is exactly what this car reminds me of. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you just have to Google it because there's no other way I can explain to you. That is exactly what that car makes me think of the minute I see it. But right, Johnny's in 11th at the moment. He's car number 13, and it's a Northern Ireland versus Brazil battle. Shades of Georgie Best versus Pele back in the World Cup in the 70s. Let's see if Johnny can right the wrongs of that game, and if he can get in ahead of the Brazilian. Yes, he does. Good work there by Johnny, getting the inside line. Will Gilberto try and go back through Druids? He has the inside. He's going to try and cut him off, but he's going to leave him enough space, and that's the door open for the number 1 car to come back through. Good racing between those two, swapping back and forward, but great. That's great news for the likes of Dara O'Connor, Lee Cogan, and Peter McCann. Well, maybe not Peter, but the other two who actually have a chance of getting to these guys without having a crash beforehand, as that battle will commence. Evan, these guys really working together, and I wonder if Brandon's going to go for a move in the next lap or not.
He should. Just send it. See if they panic. Oh, a little bit of an error there for Dylan McClemens. This is where we differ, Kevin. I would have said Johnny Reid's livery is like an Aquafresh tube, but let's have a look as Brandon McGaughan goes for the little Mansell dummy down the inside, and that is brave. That is dangerous. And Dylan McClemens has managed to hold it round the outside. It didn't pull off for Brandon. That could have been his big opportunity gone, because Sean McClemens is going to take this and just run away with it down the road, looking for his second win in the GR86 Championship. Brandon right on the rear bumper now of the multi-time RTA champion in the number 88. It's not going to work out this time round though, and they'll have one more run up the hill down towards Paddock Hill Bend to try and pull off a move. McClemens is gone at the front. It's the younger of the two who has all the defending to do, and Brandon McGaughan is looking to try and upset the team DDR 1-2 in towards the first corner. Big lunge down the inside from Brandon McGaughan, the man who's raced here in real life and has done plenty of coaching in his days, and Brandon McGaughan is still on the inside line. McClemens still holding it around the outside. It's going to have to take some amount of commitment for Dylan McClemens to hold around the outside here, but he's alongside as they trade paints on the door, and Brandon McGaughan has been pushed wide. This is exceptional defending from the very experienced young racer Dylan McClemens in towards the right-hander. McGaughan now on a very tricky outside line, and this is becoming more difficult by the second for Brandon McGaughan to pull it off. And no, it's unlikely that he will. McClemens will have the run to the line. It's Sean who wins it, and Dylan just about holds on for second.
Yeah, I guarantee you this time last year, Dylan wouldn't have gotten out the better side of that battle. But kudos, by the way, to Travis Mawhinney, who finishes 4 places up from where he started in 4th position, followed by Harvey Dara, then Tony Griffin, Kevin Joyce up 3, Ryan down 1, and then Conor Melia, Johnny Reid up 4, Lee Cogan up 6, and Dara O'Connor up 3, Peter McCann down 4. Just to repeat that, Peter McCann down 4. But yeah, no, I just think that Dylan has the maturity, and it's so funny that so many drivers, when we talk about maturity, we're kind of actually talking about the opposite. We're talking about drivers taking less risks and putting themselves in less risky positions and backing out of things that could prove dangerous. But Dylan, like this time last year, especially 2 years ago, Dylan probably would have been bullied out of it there by Brandon McGaughan. He probably would have just decided to back off a little bit and allow Brandon to have it. But this is a different Dylan we've seen in the last couple of years. He's won the last couple of seasons, and there's a real confidence and a bit between his teeth from the 88 car, and he just refused to be bullied out of it by Brandon, and that's a great drive from McClemens. His brother winning as well, but as usual, Sean wins, but it's Dylan who takes the spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I suppose it's a testament to how clean of a racer Brandon McGaughan is as well, because could have easily gone wrong for the two of them, but they were both A-OK. He comes in third, Travis Mawhinney in fourth, Harvey Dara in fifth, Tony Griffin in sixth, Kevin Joyce in seventh, and Ryan Evan Johnson should say, in eighth, Conor Melia in ninth, and Johnny Reid in 10th, Lee Cogan, Dara O'Connor, Peter McCann, Cathal Corkin, then it is Graham Walpole, Gilberto Struik, Eric Killeen, Quiveen Brennan, Ronan Keane, Sean Smith, Simon Hutchings, and unfortunately in the Ling Motorsports car we lost Ken Doyle very early on.
Yeah, we're going for race 2, but a quick mention for Graham Walpole, made up quite a few positions.
Yes, as they like to say around these parts, Heat 2 starts very quickly, and it absolutely does as we go racing once again here in Brands Hatch. Tony Griffin with another good launch off the line, not sideways this time round, as the two brothers push their way through Paddock Hill Bend. Will Travis Mawhinney try a move on Brandon McGahan here very early on, as Kevin Joyce, I should say, is trying a move around the outside of Harvey Dara. That's worked out. Harvey Dara is in the middle of a Mayo sandwich here, and Conor Melia looking to try and make some moves as well. In terms of your gainers and losers, Gilberto Struck down 2 positions. He finds himself in 18th as Johnny Reid is trying to move on Lee Cogan, but he's got Peter McCann for company.
Yeah, Harvey Dara was also down 2 positions, and I suspect that Harvey probably had already lost out a position by the time we came to him in the stream, which meant that he was fighting that little bit harder to try and stop that move from Kevin Joyce. But it looks like he's got that position back, has Harvey. There's still a little bit of rubbing between these two. Kevin in one of the very many Evan Walsh designed Mayo liveries, and once again Mayo for Sam, congratulations to Mayo on their win, and everybody watching from indeed that part of the world, a beautiful county, and now a champion county as well. Sean McClements and Dylan McClements, that battle between Dylan and Travis Mawhinney continuing. Travis turning the screw a little bit earlier in this one. He waited too late, but he's dived down the inside. I don't know, has he made that work? No, he hasn't. I was afraid he was going to touch the rear right corner of Dylan, and now Travis has put himself in danger here. I think probably just lost a little bit of patience, Travis, trying to go for a move, and it probably wasn't quite on. And that's the thing, when the grid is so close, once you start losing that momentum, you start seeing cars fly past you. So you're either moving forwards or backwards here. There's no staying where you are, really, unless you get into a big gap later on. Speaking of gaps, there's a big one there now between Tony Griffin and Kevin Joyce. 1.5 seconds down the road between those, as it is Travis Mawhinney slipping down the inside, or sorry, defending his position against Tony Griffin, should I say. Tony's up 1 so far, and just trying to put extra pressure on Travis. So inside outside lines both work around Druids, and that's the Ryan Evan Johnson getting the exit a little bit sideways, and that'll invite the door for Conor Melia to make up his first place so far this evening. So 2 minutes 20 on the clock. Not a huge amount to change up the very top of the grid, but nice swapping and changing further down. And Conor Melia, as that's Harvey Dara and Kevin Joyce coming together, unfortunately. We'll have to go back and see who the aggressive. There are so many Mayo liveries I can't keep on top, but I'd say Harvey Dara feels like a Kerry player, just being swarmed in midfield by green and red colours. As you can see, there's 4 in that shot and more in the front as well. There's Harvey Dara going wide, and a little bit of contact between himself and Lee Cogan. Harvey should keep the place as Peter McCann and Kevin Joyce begin their rivalry there going through the end of Druids. Sorry, Evan.
Yes, as Ryan Johnson also in the Mayo liveries, putting a lot of pressure on Conor Melia. They head in towards the Graham Hill Bend. Lee Cogan, Harvey Dara. Harvey Dara has been shown the door to the outside, and Lee Cogan, well, within his rights there on the inside. But now it'll be the outside, and there's a spinner at the back, and that is Graham Walpole, who's gone around, and so is Simon Hutchings, as is Gilberto Struck. 3 who were involved in incidents in the first heat have been involved in them again. I think Gilberto's mostly okay. And there round goes another one, that's Queeveen Brennan. And so disappointing for a few. Once one car spins, the rest tend to follow. There was melees at the start of all 3 heats last week. We got a little bit more than the opening lap here, but another big incident at Brands Hatch as Kevin Joyce and Peter McCann fighting once again. There's Peter McCann down the inside of Kevin Joyce, and it's hard to tell who is who, but it's Peter McCann who is ahead.
Yeah, and not very often you can say that sentence. No, I'm joking, Peter. Peter's actually quite a very fast racer, and if I went up against Peter, he'd destroy me. But yeah, I'm hoping we'll
have me though. I'm ahead of him in the championship.
For the moment, I'm hoping. Oh, that looks like. Oh, yeah, that's Lee Cogan. I think that might have been a push. And he goes into the number 18 of Carl Corkin, and now there's cars coming around the bend, and that's. Ooh, that was Simon Hutchings, and I think that there may have been a bit of contact in the lead up to that. I was just going to say, I was hoping to have a look at the previous incident involving Harvey Dara, but I think that might be worth looking as well. Let's have a look here, but I think there may have been contact, because Lee Cogan came in there at an enormous speed. I think there was a touch. I think there was a touch on the right rear corner there by Harvey Dara and Lee Cogan, and then Lee, as you can see, trying to swerve and avoid contact, and unfortunately causing a major issues there through Clark Curve. As you can see, the spraying of gravel, the remnants of the carnage that preceded it. There was another incident as well between Harvey Dara and Travis. No, it wasn't Travis. It was Kevin Joyce, which I'd like to see again if we can at the exact same spot as well. So, be interesting to see whether it was a similar type of incident. Will Ronan Hedeman come good for us on this Gantry TV replay? I think he will, folks. I think Ronan's got it in the bag. A newly refreshed Ronan Hedeman, back from a couple of weeks off, gets this one bang on. Let's have a look. Oh, it's hard from that angle to see. I mean, he did manage to collect it again, Kevin Joyce, but there certainly has to be some sort of contact in order for. I think is there contact? Yeah, there. Yeah, contact there. Yeah. So yeah, once again, that's a mini punterino. That's a punteritino or punt. I don't know. How would you a punterette? But yeah, Kevin managed to get himself back on the road, but a couple of instances there involving Harvey Dara, so no doubt the stewards will be looking at that after the race. Right, we're just over a quarter of the way into this race. I can't believe we're not even halfway through the evening so far. I've been a physic, I've been talking forever. But it's Sean McClemens leading Dylan, and Brandon has been gapped a little bit now. 8/10 down the road. It all depends on tyres really at this point to see how these guys can manage their tyres, and then to see who has what heading into the final 5 minutes.
Yeah, they both share almost, or all three of them, I should say, share almost an identical fastest lap. Their last laps were almost all identical. Let's have a look at this lap and we'll see. So it was 50.3s around across the board on the last lap as they come across the line. Dylan actually quickest of the three. He did a 50.3 again, where Sean and Brandon a 50.5. Tony Griffin lapping quite well as well. So if Brandon's not careful, Tony Griffin and potentially Travis Mawhinney will be, Tony Griffin and Travis Mawhinney may be right on his tail in the next few moments. But we're not even halfway through this heat yet. Plenty of time still to go. As Sean looking very solid at the front of this. Not necessarily a car that he fell in love with straight away. But look, if the pace is there, the pace is there, no matter how much you enjoy driving it.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Harvey getting back past Kevin Joyce. I wondered if Kevin review the last instant and decide that perhaps it was better to leave Harvey down the road. It is Peter McCann. Sorry, my apologies. Kevin Joyce is ahead of Harvey Dara. So Harvey in a Mayo sandwich at the moment, followed by the assassin car, followed by Dara O'Connor, who's just running a very plain yellow livery. That seems to be Dara's livery of choice. Just nice, plain yellow. Can't go wrong with yellow. Everyone likes yellow.
Right. What was that little segment?
No idea. Just vibing, just riffing. Right. Thanks to all of you in the chat.
I didn't know if there was a joke there or something that I missed.
No. I was just waiting for somebody to say something smart, and nobody jumped in. So, Johnny Reid. Still, I don't know what that segue was either, but it seems like some of our cars have lost their livery in celebration of my inane commentary on the livery. So let's find something else to talk about while we're watching these guys lap their 12th lap already around Brands Hatch. That's the thing about these short tracks, is that you tend to get into a groove and then it all gets a bit trainy. As I was going to say, that's one man who doesn't get into a groove. That's Peter McCann getting it all kinds of squarely on the outside of Paddock Hill. Johnny Reid takes the position, but for how long? Peter's going to come back at him and is going to retake the place. Johnny's sticking it in there, but he has to be careful here because he's going to get cut across the nose if he's not careful. And that's a good move from Johnny just to back out a little bit and give Peter the position. Dara Collar watching all of this happen from this GR86. Little livery. Isn't it nice to see some road livery? Do you know what I love? I love a good glove box in a racing car. It's something you don't get to see very often, but it's
Enderman, is this fella all right? Yellow glove boxes. The latest fantasy of the Irish independence, Kevin Galvin. As
don't associate me with that paper when we're doing this. I'm not the Irish. I'm
two different people.
For for this 2 hours, I have nothing to do with my employers, right? Nothing that comes out of my mouth represents my company. I just want to make that very clear to anybody watching. Um, yeah, these two lads are right back together. But Brandon is closing the gap. It was 8 tenths. It's now 4 tenths. And we're into the final 5 minutes. So I suspect we may have a three-way battle once again for the lead before we get to the end of this race.
Yeah, there was a hint going towards Kevin Galvin, I think, there, of who he could get to do his wedding video as the Indy media sponsorship takes over the picture. Dylan is now literally pushing Sean McClemens through Druids. And these two, will they start battling? Will they keep the same teamwork? Usually when you speak to Dylan after the race, he'll go, oh yeah, well, we were thinking of the championship. And then when you speak to Sean, he'll go, arr, 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 as Johnny Reid is on the tail of Peter McCann once again. No Madonna's here, neither of these in the groove, and Johnny Reid looking for the overtake once again. This is for 10th place. It's not reverse grid. The reverse grid is the top 8, so Kevin Joyce in the other Mayo car, currently on reverse grid pole. Peter goes defensive, breaks early, catches Johnny Reid out a little bit, and Dara O'Connor now is right on the tail of these two, as is Eric Killeen, and now they head up towards Paddock Hill Bend once again. There's Harvey Dara in front. He's in no man's land, but they all snake their way through, and Peter McCann goes defensive. Reid in the self-sponsored car to the outside. It's not very often you see that move work out.
No, and he tries for the switchback Reid, but that's covered off as well. No Madonnas, but plenty of pre-Madonnas on this grid, and there are few of them in shot actually when you look at it. Especially that man who's leading the train there in the 10th position. But you know, if you dance the snake in the steak bit, you're going to get slithered on, as Eddie Burke once famously said. Right. Dylan McClemens in second position. There's a train of 3 here, and there is a massive gap now between them and Travis Mawhinney. This is the time usually where we see Brandon start to turn the screw a little bit on Dylan, but Dylan showed that he was more than able in race 1. Round number 2, who's going to take this one?
Yeah, still 3 minutes to go. Brandon McGowan on the inside of Dylan once again. As we go airborne, and we return with Brandon McGowan ahead of Dylan.
Yeah,
good view of
Brandon teleporting ahead of Dylan. Oh no! Oh, the prima donnas have thrown their toys out of the pram. That's Johnny Reid is facing the wrong way at the end of all of it. I suspect that's probably effect rather than cause, but we will maybe get that chance to see it. Yes, we will. On the ball, Ronan Hedeman this evening. Fair play to him. Let's have a look here. Johnny Reid going around the outside of Paddock Hill Bend. Will he try to switch back? Oh, there's 2 Mayo cars getting very close for comfort. Johnny, yep. That is the 77 of, let's see who's 77 on the grid. They should be down the grid now after all that.
All the Mayo liveries, it's like falling into a bunch of nettles and trying to figure out which one stung you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Very good. Yeah, it's not sure about who that was, but anyway, it was a liver. It was a.
We're so good at our jobs.
I can't see.
There's no number 77.
77.
It was Carson Hosevar. There we go. That's the explanation. It was a 17, says Eddie Shredder. Let's get Eddie up here. It was Bicky, Eric Killeen. Caused Reid to crumble.
Well, you know what they say. They don't call me a twat for nothing. Hi. Yeah, it was Eric Killeen. There's Tony Griffin going sideways down Paddock Hill Bend. That would be an arse clincher if you were doing that in real life, but he manages to gather it together as Kevin Joyce.
Now I get the Fleetwood Mac
behind. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a while.
He's got it. Yeah. Right, Kevin Joyce behind Harvey Dara here. This has been a battle that's been going on right throughout these 2 races, and it is Harvey who has the better side of it at the moment, but obviously pending. You can see a little bit of denting on the front of Harvey Dara's car. That it won't be coincidental that may be connected to a future Stewart's incident, should I say. But yeah, now Brandon McGowan splitting the 2 McClemens. So this is interesting. The first time we've seen these 2 boys broken up so far this evening, and obviously Brandon will be going for the race win. So I mean, he's being protected by his younger brother. Dylan, what postcode was that from? Dylan started that move from County Sligo. Never mind Mayo. And Brandon managed to keep it on track, and I think rather correctly, Brandon's having none of that, and he's pushed Dylan off onto the track. And yeah, I do think that we may see an incident here. No, Brandon's come across. At least he's going to say, if you're going to punt me from behind. No, Dylan's going down the inside. This is the last lap. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but Brandon's going to have the outside line. Dylan is going to keep the foot in it. A little bit of rubbing is racing between the two of them. And it is Dylan who crosses the line 0.02 of a second ahead of Brandon McGahan after a move that, I mean, it's up to you folks to decide whether you think that's fair or not, but he said that from another planet. I think he said it from another time zone.
Max Verstappen, eat your heart out. Have at it, I say. What a great last lap that was between the two. It allowed Sean to run up the road again and take his third win of the season. Travis Mooney coming home in fourth as we're just waiting on some of the minor placers to come in. And there's Graham Walpole, unfortunately got hit earlier on in that heat. Reverse pole goes to Kevin Joyce. He was able to convert a win from reverse pole all the way back in our LMP2 series, so it'll be interesting to see if he can do the same again. I think he was on pole here last time we came to Brands Hatch, actually. In the V's, I think he was quickest in qualifying, but happy to be corrected on that one. Sean McClements, your race winner, with Dylan McClements in second. Brandon McGahan then comes home in third, ahead of Travis Mooney in fourth. Then it is Tony Griffin in fifth, with Conor Mealy in sixth position, Harvey Dara behind them, with Kevin Joyce in eighth, and crucially, on reverse pole, Peter McCann beats Bicky in ninth and tenth, and it's Dara O'Connor, Sean Smith, Ken Doyle, Johnny Reid, Gilberto Struck, Ronan Keane, Quiveen Brennan, Graham Walpole, Carl Corkin, Ryan Evan Johnson, Lee Cogan, and Simon Hutchings. And now, sorry, I think I forgot we have to do interviews now, of course,
we'll have to do interviews. Absolutely, yeah. And we will probably be speaking to our race winner, Sean McClements. So if you haven't heard enough shy talk so far from me in the commentary box, just wait till we start talking to Sean.
Yeah, let's bring in your race winner and three-time race winner this season after his best ever start in RTA. It is Sean McClements. Sean, you've pulled that pace out of the cupboard all of a sudden. Third win. How does that feel?
I hear it's not too bad. I think Dylan's been a wee bit kind to me this evening, to be fair. He's a bit more pace when the tires start to sort of wear and tear, but no, sorry, go on,
There a bit of teamwork there?
Seems to be, sure, me and Dylan doesn't chat in the Discord anymore, so it's hard to sort of see what he's doing, but you kind of know if he sort of shows the nose, you just kind of let him go wet, and then you go behind him type thing, but it seems to be.
Yeah, Dylan just kind of sitting behind you. You were working harder, looking busy at the front than actually working. Do you expect the challenge from both him and Brandon to be a little bit more now in heat 3 that you have to start behind them?
Well, it's hard to know because it's reverse grid, so you never know what could happen, coming into turn 1 or, turn 2 especially. I know in the cold tires, turn 3 is a nightmare, so you just have to be real careful into there. So you never know, if there's baller, it'll be just sort of whoever survives it the best, and then I would say Dylan and Brandon will probably get through alright, and knowing my luck, I'll be upside down somewhere, you know yourself.
And just for our non-Dunloy viewers who are watching, Sean says he's going to try his best to keep it clean and try to win the race. Sean, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck for Heat 3.
Come on, good to see you right at the cupboard, lad.
Second place, still McClements with Kevin.
Yeah, I'm never sure whether that's actually Sean's real voice at this point. It's been going on for so long.
Unfortunately,
Dylan,
it is.
That was a really ding-dong battle between yourself and Brandon, particularly in the first race, but also in the second. I mentioned on commentary how maybe 2 years ago you probably would have been giving that position to Brandon. Is that fair to say? Do you feel like in the last 2 years and the last couple of seasons of racing, you've kind of started to be a little bit more confident and maybe showing a little, or giving as good as you can get, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know I haven't been as aggressive the first 2 years, and sort of just let people through. But now I think I'm up to pace, so I can start being a bit more aggressive and defending for positions. And this car, I think we're going to see a lot of door-to-door battles.
Yeah, really good battling. You're obviously showing great pace. This reverse grid gives you a chance to be ahead of Sean, but of course you're going to have to get ahead of Brandon, and it's a very close grid. So what's the strategy?
I'm not even worried about Brandon. I'm just gonna try work my way through the field because around the track it's so tight in times, and overtaking might be a bit hard. And who knows, first lap could go wrong. But we'll just have to see.
All right, very good. Dylan, thanks very much for joining us. Hopefully speak to you before the end of the evening.
All right, cheers.
Right, yeah, well, let's have a very quick chat with Brandon McGahan, who's with Evan Dalton.
Brandon, congratulations on the podium. All elbows out between you and Dylan on the last lap. What you make of that?
Oh yeah, it was a bit dirty, but I did the exact same thing to him in race 1, so I can't complain.
All is fair in love and war?
Oh yeah, exactly. I was getting it's hard work trying to, with them two working together. So the first race I had just kind of stuck into the rear corner like that. So he done the same. It's all fair.
And best of luck for Heat 3.
Cheers.
So good to hear from the top three once again. Or good to hear from the top three for the first time this season, I should say. We will hear from them once again if it is the same top three for Heat number 3. But a bit of work to do now. They've got to put some overtakes in.
Yeah, and particularly for Sean, you know what they say, looking busy is harder than working itself. But I think that Sean has some serious work to do in this final race if he's to continue that streak of wins. But he's showing excellent pace and, obviously helped by the fact that the two boys are battling behind him, but nonetheless, fairly comfortable in these first two races.
Yeah, absolutely. And some misfortune for some in that second heat. Ryan Johnson had a disconnect while in 7th. That would have been on the front row of the grid. To that I say, where is Barmer? And for those who understand, you understand. Kevin Joyce on pole with Harvey Dara alongside Conor Melia in 3rd. Conor, someone we haven't really mentioned a lot tonight. He'll be looking for a strong result here in heat number 3. Tony Griffin starts on the 2nd row once again. Then it's Travis Mooney and Brandon McGahan, Dylan McClements and Sean McClements to round out the reverse grid. Kevin, Harvey, Tony, Travis all showing good pace tonight, Kevin. This is not going to be as easy as maybe we think it will be for the McClements brothers.
No, absolutely not. Not going to be plain sailing for them, particularly when we consider the pace of the rest of the grid. Travis Mooney has already made up some considerable places from where he started in qualifying, so obviously the race pace is there. But it really is going to be a question of who can manage their tyres best. So let's see what they can do here. One of the very, 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 very many Mayo liveries in Kevin Joyce leading us out, but he's going to resume that battle with Harvey Dara, which is a spicy one too.
Yeah, Kevin Joyce on pole for the main race here in Brands Hatch as we go racing once again, and it's wheel spin central for a car that once again usually has a rolling start. But we do things the more difficult way in RTA, and Tony Griffin is trying it around the outside of the pair of them, and this is a bold and audacious move by Tony Griffin. Conor Melia has to save the half spin, and he's under pressure now by both the McClementses in towards the hairpin, and it's a big lunge by Travis Mooney, side by side with Dylan McClements, but that one's worked out a-okay for Travis. He's got a good run in towards the Graham Hill bend, but Dylan McClements is already up to 4th here. Sean is trying to elbow his way through, and he cannot find a way past.
No, that door just opened magnificently for both McClements brothers, who I thought were going to follow each other through there from that contact between Melia and Tony Griffin. I thought that you were going to get through, but now they're split once again. As Travis Mooney splitting them, and this man, Brandon McGahan, has a bone to pick with the McClements. He tried it first with Dylan. Let's see what happens with Sean here. I think I'd be very surprised if Brandon finished the race in 7th, but he does have a bit of work to do if he's going to make his way up the grid. So it's Kevin Joyce leading Harvey Dara, then Tony Griffin up 1, Dylan McClements up 3, if Travis Mooney stays where he is, Sean McClements up 2. Conor Melia, though, down 5 positions from that early contact, which just goes to show you the slightest contact early on in this race can have a huge impact as the McClements McGahan battle continues. 2 clans, 2 tribes going war to war. Oh, and he pushed Brandon off the track. Brandon wasn't prepared to leave him do it. He stuck it in, almost fishtailed the older McClements into the wall. Thankfully both just about survived, but those hijinks have cost both of those men dearly.
Yeah, Sean's arms out like a Bulgarian fridge lifters as we go side by side down towards the first corner. It's Tony Griffin and Dylan McClemens, and Dylan was going for broke, but Tony's broke about 50 yards later than him and goes to visit the beach at turn number 1. He'll lose the position to the other McClemens and will defend from Conor Melia. Conor may have some questions about that rejoin. Tony pulled straight over to the right hand side. Now it's still Dylan and Kevin Joyce side by side. Kevin will fight this one for sure with all his Mayo spirit bumping through his veins. He'll stay in front of Dylan McClemens or Willie. They're still side by side in front of this. Travis Mawhinney won't think twice about lunging this one down the inside of Kevin Joyce now, and here he goes. It's an almighty lunge as Sean is there as well. He's looking to follow through past the man who he coaches in Formula V, Kevin Joyce, heading back up the hill towards Paddock Hill Bend. We're only 2 minutes and 30 seconds into this race. It is a blockbuster.
Yeah, there's plenty of times on a Saturday night where Sean has been trying not to follow through, but he's trying to get it done here on Clark Corner, but he couldn't quite get it done in this lap. Can he do it later on in the race? There was more chance of Stephen Hawking getting trials at Inter Milan than there was of Tony Griffin making that corner in the last lap, by the way, lads. But I didn't manage to got back on track. But yeah, questions around that rejoin for sure. Right, we see a slow car there in the background. That I think is Sean Smith or Ryan Johnson. Oh no, it's Johnny Reid and Darrell Connor coming together. Oh, and the assassins have been chewed up. Darragh survives and just proving the point. Everyone likes the colour yellow. Just gets away with it. Absolutely, just flies under the radar. And Darragh avoids major contact there. But Johnny, unfortunately, is meatball, and that is his race almost certainly over. He's going to lose several laps now on the rest of the grid. Tony Griffin still in 6th position. Connor won't be happy, as you say, about that rejoin, but he has to keep his composure very early on in this race already. But already some serious incidents and some serious lunges. Travis Mawhinney in the early reckoning, and also Sean McClemens getting fairly stuck in as well.
Yep, sleepy time for Johnny Reid, unfortunately. Down the order, no recovery. In a race like this, Kevin Joyce is falling down like a stone through water as Conor Melia has...
There's Brandon McGahan going wide.
Yeah, Brandon McGahan going wide. Conor Melia just kicked in the VTEC there, just leapt onto the back of Kevin Joyce in towards the right-hander. Joyce now defending the inside rather than the outside, which was on the last time. It's Harvey Darragh who leads, then it's still the McClemens, Mawhinney, McClemens, Griffin, and then this fight, Kevin Joyce and Conor Melia. And Melia is looking for this one on the inside. No, a bit too far back for the time being.
Yeah, a bit too far back, but Dylan McClemens hunting down Harvey Darragh at the moment. He's got the run there down the outside, but Harvey's going to probably defend fairly robustly down the inside, I suspect, and he does so. Of course, Harvey, last year's championship winner in the Indy Next Series, so he will have plenty of confidence as well. And these are really our top 2 drivers over the last couple of seasons, Harvey and Dylan, I think it's fair to say. So it's great to see them battling up the front. Let's see what can happen. They have to be careful though. They'll have to keep it fairly kosher. But thankfully for Dylan, he's there's Conor Melia going off in the distance, and that will open the door for both Eric Killeen and Brandon McGahan to go through. And Conor's bit up and down so far this evening, unfortunately for him.
He is very disappointing, and still intense, still decent points for Conor. He wasn't able to finish in the top 10 in any of the 3 heats last week, but was in and around 11, 12, so still good points as Kevin Joyce takes to the grass in towards the right-hander, and Tony Griffin gives him a wide berth correctly as Kevin was barreling into that corner, not getting that car stopped. As here's the battle for the race lead. It is a 4-way fight between Harvey Darragh, Dylan McClemens, Travis Mawhinney and Sean McClemens, and this could go any number of ways. Harvey Darragh has lost the lead already, and Travis Mawhinney right on the bumper of the car in front of him. It's very NASCAR-esque, this, all pushing their way through the corners and trying to find an avenue of attack. Dylan McClemens is in the race lead by 2.5 tenths of a second as they head up the Brabham straight in towards Paddock Hill Bend with 14 minutes remaining in this race. Manage your tyres, manage your race car, and you will still be in the fight at the end. This battle won't decide the win.
Yeah, and the average age here, of course, is somewhere in the mid to late teens. So none of these guys are going to be particularly worried about strategy or long-term consequences. They're just going to be going for it every single corner, which should make for some excellent racing. Dylan trying to hold them off now. Here's Kevin Joyce following Tony Griffin, or Tony Griffin following Kevin Joyce, should I say, off on the Graham Hill bend there. Not sure whether that's worth an 1x for them or not. Of course, 15 1x for disqualifications. You can't do that too often when we have this many tracks. Here's Peter McCann taking the scenic route, as one tends to do, and down to 11th position. This is a great battle up front. It's going to be Travis now trying to put pressure on Harvey, and he's going to have the run here, and Harvey's pulling down to the inside to try and see if he can make a move on Dylan McClements, but Dylan closes the door. Travis has to go around the outside. He's followed down the inside by by Sean, should I say, and it's going to be Sean around the outside here. Travis Mawhinney, he's keeping the loud pedal stuck down, but I think he's going to lose out here. Has to be careful here, Sean. He doesn't just barrel into the side of Ted Grundy and send him spinning out. Absolutely doesn't, Sean. He's filtered back in there into 4th position. But this is a really, really good battle, Evan, and we missed a bit of this last week at some point.
We did. It's a lot easier to overtake at Brands Hatch than it is at Summer Point, though, so we've picked the right week to return on Gantry TV, and we hope you're enjoying the action so far, folks. Please consider a subscription if you are. It's absolutely free to do so, no obligations. We're not going to come knocking at your door, or maybe Ronan Hedman will. But here we go, down the inside once again, and it's 3 wide at the apex of the corner. Brandon McGahan takes the smart approach, and he sells them both a dream, and he's looking to try and get alongside Tony Griffin down towards Graham Hill once again, but no, not quite, and it's the aggression that Brandon McGahan said he had to pull out in heat number 1 to try and win here in RTA. It's another little bit of contact, a slowdown for Kevin Joyce, potentially for cutting the inside or taking too much on the outside, and Brandon McGahan lunges once again on Tony Griffin. Taking no prisoners is the Ballycastle man, but Kerry's Tony Griffin will stay ahead for the time being.
Kevin pulling into the pits, but I think I think Brandon knows he has the pace to be much further up this grid, and he's seeing this battle, and all he's seeing is time ebbing away to those in front. There's already a big gap, 1.7 seconds, and Brandon wants to be up towards that front 4. He knows he has the pace to be able to challenge. Now he has the inside line going down to Druids. The key is unlocked. Will he burst through the door? Yes, he will. Brandon straight into 5th position. And yeah, the absolute bare necessity for him to get past that number 67 car, and he's managed to get it done. And now he's going to be hunting more like a wolf than a bear, the front 4.
Yeah, there's a fine line between a very good overtake and giving children nightmares, but Brandon McGahan just underneath that line as Tony lunge down the inside, contact once again. That's going to invite Conor Melia into this fight, and Conor has the slipstream of Brandon, but Brandon cuts across to give it to the slower running car, and Conor Melia is going to have to get brave if he wants to hang this one around the outside of Paddock Hill. We're not even halfway through this race just yet. Imagine what's going to come in the final laps of this, and Conor Melia has completed the move. He's now up to 6th position. It's been a very strong recovery for the number 56 so far.
Yeah, it's been really good. He's just covered off the nose there of Tony Griffin, who was thinking of a move down the inside of Druids. And we've seen a few opportunistic moves, none more so than by Dylan McClements on Brandon McGahan earlier on in the opening race. But Travis Mawhinney in 3rd place now. Sean McClements is behind him, and they're losing time to the front 2 of Dylan and Harvey. And that's a little bit disconcerting. Travis blinking there in front of Sean, who manages to just keep it on track. But it's very difficult to battle somebody when you're not sure whether they're going to appear at any given point. Now, he still has Harvey Dara and indeed his younger brother in sight. So still 10 minutes left in this race as well. But you don't want to be losing any more time. And that's exactly what is on the mind of this man in the Birds Are Drones, Everything is a Government Shill livery, I think is probably the best way to describe that one. Brandon McGahan, I don't think those actually really reflect the views of Brandon McGahan, though maybe it would. Maybe that would make for a good podcast. But yeah, it's a big gap now between Sean and Brandon. Will it be too much for Brandon to make up? I suspect it might be, but I suppose time will tell with 9 minutes to go.
Maybe that's how I revive Raw Motorsport, Kevin. Just get Irish drivers on to just talk about what conspiracy theories they believe in. I guarantee you it'll get the numbers.
Do well.
As Brandon Bird Non-Believer in 5th place. as, oh, he's gone falling down the order, but I imagine that's just a connection issue and he'll pop back up in 5th in a moment. He will. Tony Griffin is looking to pop back up to 6th position, but not able to pull off the overtake on that lap. 11.5 minutes gone in this one. It's all settled down just that little bit. One of your biggest gainers in this race is Dylan McClemens with 6, but there's 2 who are, have gained more than him. That's Ryan Johnson and Lee Cogan, who are up to 12th and 13th respectively. And Lee Cogan is looking to get past one of our 6 Mayo honouring live races. Harvey Dara and Dylan McClemens, 2 young stars from across the border, as Harvey Dara blinking the lights at Dylan into the brake zone. Ooh, unorthodox tactics frowned upon by some, as Sean gets past Travis Mawhinney.
Yeah, oh, there's Sean going wide. No blinking required for Sean as he opens the door for Travis to go back through. He'll be annoyed at himself with that one, Sean, because he had to try hard to get himself where he was and trying to find himself in a position to overtake, and then throws it all away there with a bad line through Paddock Hill. What are your thoughts on that, Evan? I have to say personally, oh, Tony Griffin gone. Tony Griffin has had an incident. He's off there at the barrier, I think. Yes, he is. I can see the smoke coming up and him tumbling down. I think he may have gotten a nudge there as he was going through Graham Hill Bend. We may have an opportunity to have a look at that again. Yes, we will. The Gantry GR86 Cup 2026 new replay. Bit Dennis the Menace-esque now that I look at it, but it is the right colour scheme, so it is what it is. We could always get the Dennis the Menace little theme song to go when we're doing the replay. Oh, I think that's driver error. It's driver error by Tony. Just tipped 2 tyres on the outside in the grass, and grass notoriously has less grip than tarmac, and Tony Griffin feeling the effects of that.
Through the way late in the second half. Story of Munster, unfortunately, for Tony Griffin. As I think, take it you're going to ask me about the flashing lights, Kevin.
Yeah, just it's something that does my head in personally.
Good Kanye West song.
Yeah, but that's not what I was asking you about. But thanks.
I can't say I really notice it that much. I don't think you should do it, but I don't think it's as big an issue as people make out it to be.
I just think it's kind of a slithery old way to try and get a position. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you're, that just shows me that you're not really good enough to get past me, and the only way you're going to get past me is to try and force me into a mistake.
Flashing lights are a slippery mistress, to be fair. You wouldn't want to be doing it too much, especially to...
Ronan Hedeman, of course, famously falling foul of flashing lights in a previous endurance race.
Yeah,
we all remember.
Killing half the grid, but we'll say no more. He didn't even...
I remember Ronan, well, Ronan says he has no recollection, but I remember Ronan being kicked from a race by an admin for flashing his lights, for excessively flashing his lights, apparently.
Oh, I'm talking about Bathurst when he should have got a iRacing ban.
Oh, no. I'm talking about it was some sort of Le Mans. It wasn't, no, there's definitely something with Ronan and flashing lights. No, I remember Ronan getting really aggy about it. Ronan's denying well, yeah. Ronan's denying this because Ronan says it's not him, but I don't feel
Oh, sorry, I forgot people can't hear Ronan. He was just constantly saying,
okay,
it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Right. Well, you know what they say, when the drink is in, the sense is out. Here is Travis defending from Sean. Sean and Dylan, like two Siamese beasts, but unfortunately both being separated by 2 cars in the middle. 5 minutes left in this one. We've been doing so much shite talking that the race has gone pretty quickly for us, but not a huge amount of incident up front. I suspect it's only a matter of time before Harmy starts to turn the screw on Dylan, probably trying to conserve his tyres at the moment, but just too much of a gap between the top 2 and the middle 2. And then Brandon, again, big gaps there in the grid, at the front of the grid as we head towards the last 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, this is looking like it could be another McClemens sweep for the second week running. Travis Mawhinney is looking to try and keep the other McClemens off the podium here. He's doing a good job at that. 1.3 seconds separates the leading pair and 3rd and 4th. So the responsibility of this race for now lies on Harvey Dara for taking it away from the family from the north. And Sean McClemens is in the slipstream once again, Travis Mawhinney. The tow, not as powerful in this car, I think, as others. Certainly still there, still exists. But the likes of the V's, it doesn't even come close to, really.
No, it doesn't, but it's a great, it's a perfect free content car. I think iRacing knocked it
absolutely.
out of the park by giving the GR86, and I think the same with the BMW C2. Is it? All those cars are just fun, real drivable cars, but not overpowered either. Nothing that's going to require too much, like not a steep learning curve, but something that is really hard to master. And like you're seeing these guys driving them exceptionally well, but they are squirrely enough little beasts, and you have to be careful with them. So they're great fun to drive. I would recommend. And this is a great combo. To be fair, these cars in this track, it's a really tidy little combo, and yeah, it's a good. It's I have to say, calendar's really good this year. I'm really liking the calendar. Some great rounds in it this year, and yeah. Normally I get a bit bored with Brands Hatch Indy just because we race it so often, but I have to say I'm enjoying it this evening.
Yeah, and one little interesting thing about these cars, the official series would have traction control turned on. It's turned off here in RTAs. That's one little change to make it a tad bit more difficult for maybe some of the front runners. It's not a big difference. Like, it's not like turning traction control off in your road car or something like that, but still a little bit of a difference from the official series, and of course the rolling starts compared to the standing starts. This is Lee Cogan and Ryan Johnson who are fighting, and that is Lee Cogan ahead. Or that's Lee Cogan actually, and Sean Smith, so another Mayo livery runner. Here's the battle for the lead. Harvey Dower goes for the outside on Dylan McClements, but McClements defends nicely in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Harvey Dower looked for the up and under, but got on that curb on the inside line and it shot him off into the gravel. Travis Mawhinney shoots off into the gravel that little bit as well. Harvey Dower, who put hours of practice into winning his Indy Next Championship, wants to take another race win here in the GR86s in what would be a first of the season. Hasn't stood on the podium yet, has Harvey Dower, so this would be a first if he could do so here in this race.
Yep, thoughts as well in the chat for driver of the day. Get your shout in for driver of the day this evening. Very interested to hear your thoughts because we've quite a number of contenders. So do let us know as we head towards what maybe the last lap. No, it won't be the last lap. It'll be the penultimate lap here of this feature race.
Yeah, penultimate lap of the feature. Harvey Dower that little bit further back than where he was this time last lap through Paddock Hill Bend due to that mistake, as he will rumble along the curbs once again. And oh, is there a late shock in this one? Can Harvey Dower pull out all the stops and prove that he is the future of RTA as compared to Dylan McClements? No, not quite close enough for now.
No, not quite. Harvey just... Dylan doing a really good job of holding Harvey off, but he's, as I say that, not getting the greatest exit, but just squeezing Harvey there on the outside. And Harvey's going to go for a lunge here. The door's opened, and that is a hip check and a half. Straight out of Aussie Rules playbook, that from Harvey there, the hip and shoulder. And Dylan's going to come back at him. He's not going to take this lying down. If this was the final lap, I'd be out of my seat, but we're in the second last lap, so Dylan has the advantage going into the final lap. The side draft, I think, there have made a big difference. Oh, and that was almost a big problem. Dylan coming across there to cover off Harvey, who tapped.
Look at McGowan, they're four wide into Graham Hill on the last lap of this one, and Dylan McClements still leads. Harvey Dower right behind. That could be the moment that wins it for Dylan, but Harvey Dower, he surely wants to turn one more page in this brilliant Brands Hatch book, as Sean McClements is all elbows out with Brandon McGowan. He's just got to back off and take points. Harvey Dower is surely going to have a lunge on the inside. Dylan McClements goes all defensive. Travis Mawhinney can't invite himself into the party. There's a handful of slowdowns for the two at the back, and now it's a drag race to the line. They exit the Clark curve, and on the run up the hill, it is going to be Dylan McClements who takes his first win of the evening and a third here in the championship, but he had to work for it. Harvey Dower threw everything at him, but once again the prodigy prevails.
Unbelievable work from Dylan McClements, and indeed all of the front five, 4 wide into Druids, and they made it stick. How they did it, I don't know, but unbelievable end to that race. Fantastic racing right up and down the grid, and but it is Dylan McClements who wins out, and lads, up 6 places Dylan McClements for that race win. Also up 6 places is Eric Killeen Bickey, finishing in 4th position. A superb result for him. Is he your driver of the day? Let us know in the comments.
What a great race from start to finish as Dylan McClements takes it. by a tenth of a second. Travis Mowini or Harry Darrett in second, I should say. Travis Mowini in third. Sean and Brandon falling down to 16th and 17th. That's a disaster for them. Then it was Eric Killeen in fourth. Conor Melia in fifth. Peter McCann in sixth. Ken Doyle in seventh. Ryan Johnson in eighth. And Lee Cogan in ninth. Sean Smith in 10th. Dara O'Connor in 11th. Kevin Joyce in 12th. Ronan Keane in 13th. And Queeveen of Graham Walpole, Sean McClemens, Brandon McGaughan, Tony Griffin, Gilberto Struck, Johnny Reid, Cathal Corkin, and Simon Hutchings. And what was a very interesting race. We'll now hear from your race winner, Dylan McClements. Dylan, congratulations. Finally got one over the brother. What a hectic last lap, though. Talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, well, Harvey was fairly close to me most laps, and my idea was just to back him up into the pipe behind and hopefully get away, and it seemed to work.
Yeah, every race in this championship so far has been won by a McClements. Is it safe to say it's you versus Sean for the title?
I think it's the rest of the grid versus us at this point, because you don't know what's going to happen, and like me and Sean very, very, very close in pace, which is good to see, but we'll have to see.
Your first RTA race win came in a Tim Top similar to this. Your first championship came in a car with a closed roof. It was a prototype. I'm not going to say it's exactly a Tim Top. For a man who is more well known for his pace in single seaters, these cars not treating you too bad.
I was driving single seaters earlier today, and I wish we were driving them. But regardless, my pace is still good in these cars, and I think I started out RTA in these cars, because Sean had to go to work, so it's a bit of a nostalgic.
Did you end up beating the various Formula 2 drivers you were racing against earlier?
He didn't race; he was just practicing.
Scared, I think. We won't name him for his
Yeah.
own sake, but clearly a little bit petrified of the prodigy that is Dylan McClements. Dylan, congratulations on the race win.
Thank you very much.
Now the man who fought with Dylan throughout the end of that race with Kevin, it's Harvey Dara.
Harvey, I mean, if McDonald's were actually sponsoring you and you were getting money based on the amount of screen time, then you would be in the money, my friend. We're pretty much glued to you all the way through the three races, for good and bad. Tell us a little bit about the three races. I mean, you were right in the thick of the action, battling all the way. You must be sweating.
Oh yeah, absolutely sweating. I mean, actually, I think I was sweating more in the first two than the last one, because once I tried defending from Dylan, and then I thought we should try and work together. So when he got in front of me, then I was happy enough and just kind of sat there until the last 4 minutes. And I tried some things, but it's just so hard to overtake on this track, you know. So you did have to go for it in the end.
Yeah, a couple of instances, particularly kind of going through McLaren and onto the Clark curve. It's a difficult one because the door opens and you think you have an opportunity, and then I suppose the way the line is that the door kind of closes straight away, and if you don't get your timing right, then you end up clipping somebody and sending them around.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially in that last one with Dylan, you know, the gap was 100% there, and I was there, so like we there was no bad that came out of it, if you know what I mean. So I think I just had to go for it, and honestly, it turned out okay. So
Well, it was unbelievable battling. I mean, a drag race to the line. I mean, the lap previous, if that was the final lap, we would have been out of our seats. But going into that final lap, then you just see Brandon McGaughan and Travis Mowini screaming up your outsides. You're going 4 wide into Druids. What are your thoughts then?
honestly, I was just like, okay, I'll stick it to the inside and just hope there's a bunch of gravel on the outside that they all get caught up in, and I'll be okay. But thankfully, I think we all stayed in one piece really, and that's kind of the main thing at the end of the day. So, it was really good fun. This car is really good fun to race. It's so slow, but it's so good. Just being slow, drag is insane.
Yeah, and it's a nice departure, nice change from the next cars.
Oh, like I don't mind in the NXT because I did okay in it, but you know, this is just so much more fun. Like so much more fun.
All right. Well, look, Travis, no doubt we'll be seeing you again. I'd be sending an email to McDonald's seeing if. Sorry, Jesus, Harvey. I'd be sending an email to McDonald's asking for maybe some remuneration for the amount of screen time you got this evening. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream when you go back and look at it. Congratulations on your second place finish in the final race, and no doubt we'll be speaking to you before the end of the championship because it's very clear you have some great pace.
Thank you very much, Evan. Thank you.
I deserve that.
Ah,
Yeah, I
ah.
absolutely deserve that. Oh, I so deserve that. Right. That's not that's not even in the top 5 worst things I've said this evening. So honestly, Harvey, fair play. I'll get my head around it. We'll do our final broadcast and I'll finally get it right. Right. Harvey, thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. See you there.
See ya. Oh God, he got me good there. Right. Let's have a chat with our third place finisher, Travis Mooney.
Travis, welcome back to Gantry TV. Good to have you back here in RTA. What do you make it this evening in the GR86? Is it anything similar to the Kirky Fiestas?
Honestly, I'm quite lucky to be able to finish race 3 because I was just trying to hold Sean McClemens whilst Brandon McCaughan was just trying to catch up from behind us. And in the last lap, it's just all sort of let loose. It's very bumpy, very racy in the GR86s, so they are. But no, the results that I got, I'm happy with the results. I'm always trying to push for greater results. I'm always just trying to look at the data. At the early point of tonight, I was kind of struggling with pace. Turn 1 and turn 5 is the more standard points to look at because once you go wider, you just get understeer. It's horrible. But no, I'm compared to Kyrgyzstan Fiestas, it's kind of the same, bumpy and racing. So it is. But no, with the results that I got tonight, I'm happy.
Yeah, a very serious racer, of course, Travis. One not so serious thing is the paint scheme on the side of the car. Tell us about the inspiration for that one.
No, last time when I did race with you guys in the Formula V, I just wanted to do some silly odd liveries like the cargo broom, such and such. So I just wanted to keep it going, you know. I was just looking through traded paints and I found some that looked quite fun and it's a show that I enjoyed looking into. So I started using that and maybe after the season, maybe I'll do more seasons and maybe do some silly wraps like that.
Well, Travis, thank you very much for joining us. Before you leave, one more thing. You are tonight's Gantry TV driver of the day, so congratulations for that.
Ah, cool, thank you.
So, not Travis's first RTA related driver of the day, got driver of the day in his Formula V debut as well, but a well earned accolade for Travis.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well earned, very clean all the way throughout, as indicated by Campbell Chukwa as well. And I think both of us kind of proudly agreed that Travis was the best of the rest. I know he got a third place finish, but definitely the best of the race. And also an honourable shout to Lee Cogan, who was up 11 places, as was Ryan Evan Johnson over the course of the evening. So yeah, a great result for them. Brandon McGahan finished down in 17th. I'm not sure what happened to Brandon there. Must have
Him and
had
Sean got drive-throughs.
yeah, must have gotten a drive-through. So
They both
himself
picked up about
and
8x
Sean.
on the last lap, I think. And that pushed them over.
Yeah, that was a bit disappointing for them. But yeah, that does round up everything here at Brands Hatch Indy. Of course, we will be heading on next week now in the latest round of the GR86 Cup, where we will head to Ulton Park, not too far away. We're heading up further north to, I think, my favourite track of all time. Ulton Park, I think it's my favourite track. But yeah, going to make some really good racing. That's on the 4th of August. So make sure you come back and join us for that one. More absolute random bullshittery in that one as well. I can be sure of you. You can be sure of it. If in the meantime, head to our RTA Virtual Motorsport where Ronan will be updating the website and giving out about how he has to update the website. And also head to Bois Motorsports where you can get all the updates on Irish motorsport, including the mystery Formula 2 driver that's running scared from Dylan Clements.
Dino
I'm sure that will
Bogdanovich.
be posted. I'm sure. Okay, well, there you go. You don't need to go to Ball Motorsport. There you go, after all. And also check out Mandela Park and indeed Sim Consultants. Sim Consultants first. There is Ronan in the background. He was in Riga last week and very busy man. Look at him there smiling away, happy with
He's looking well.
big smug head in them. So head over to the Sim Consultants
That is
and
right.
keep that smug face on him. And yeah, and they're pivot, as they head upstairs. Right, there they are now.
That was a
This is
really awkward way to carry that up that stairs.
yeah, yeah. Well, they're
And
not
why
a
was
moving
Dave from
company.
Drift Games doing it?
I think this is the only ad where Ronan's like, please turn this off now. Oh, there he is again. That's not a great angle. There they are measuring race cars for some reason. Yeah, that is indeed
Oh,
a
this is
steering
when
wheel,
they
Rob.
pretended to make one that was exactly like Dave's drift car. Then it just didn't look anything like.
Evan's getting muted. Um, right. Thanks to all of you for joining us at
Why is it
simconsultants.com for that
skipping?
one. And also Montello Park. We will never give up. Well, that's foreshadowing. Right. Where are we going next? Mondello Park. They are doing all of their obviously their experiences you can get involved in as well, and of course Bimmerfest is
paying
on
us.
Monday. Yeah, but Bimmerfest on Monday, so you might see some of the lads up there as well. Okay. Until then, thank you very much for joining us on Gantry TV. And in the famous words of Eddie Durkin, if it has tits or wheels, it'll take your money and break your heart. Slogafol.